In this video, we'll learn how we can print the pattern like this, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the first row, and then in second row we have 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, and then in last row we have a single 1. Okay, so as we know, our first step is to mark the counter I and j. So this is for the I counter, this is for j. Okay. So if I talk about I, this time I is starting from 5. Okay, so we'll take in descending order, that is 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Okay, and if we talk about j, the j counter is the same as the previous one, that is it is starting from 1 till 5. Then we have again 1 till 4, then we have 1 till 3, then 1 till 2, then 1 till 1. Okay, so if I talk about I is starting from n. So here n is 5. Okay, so we can say that n is 5 in this case. We can also change the value of n anytime we want. Okay, so I starting from n and going till 1, and as we can see I is decreasing row by row. So we have here I minus minus, that is decrement I by 1. Now if I talk about j starting from 1 and is going till I. Okay, so as you can see here 1 to 5, here we can see that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is matching with the values of I. So 1 till I, and j is incrementing by 1 each time. So we have j plus plus. Okay, now this is the main logic of a program. Now we'll build up the program. Okay. Okay, so this was the older program to print the pattern like this, that is 1, 1, 2, sorry, yeah, this was the pattern we want to print it. This is 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we want to print the reverse of this pattern, that is the last row is now the first row and the first row is now the last row. Okay, so we'll just do a simple change in our logic. Okay, so as you can see here, I start initializing from n. So we'll change the value of I to n, and I is going till 1. So in while we have the condition I greater than equals 1, and then we can also change this condition to greater than 0. That means I will go till 1. Now we can see the j loop is same, that is 1 till I, and we are printing j this time again, and we are incrementing j, then we are changing the line, and now in this case we are decrementing I by 1. Okay, so now I'll save this, and when we run the program we got this desired output. Okay, so now I'd also like to dry run this logic so it would be much clear. Okay, so here as you can see that we are having three variables, that is I, j and n. Okay, so this is for I, this is for j, and this one is n. Okay, so first of all when we go to this line, I is not initialized, j is also not initialized, but in n we have stored 5. Now in second line we can see I is equals to n, that means I is equals to 5, that is the value of n will be given to I. Now we'll go in this while loop. We'll check whether I is greater than 0. Yes, 5 is greater than 0. So we'll go in this while loop of I, and now we'll initialize j by 1. So as we have initialized j by 1. Okay, now we'll check the condition whether j is less than or equals to I. That means whether 1 is less than or equals to 5. Yes, this condition is also true. So now we'll print j. As you can see here, we are having 1 in j, so we'll print 1 and a space. Okay, and now we'll increment j. That means 1 is now j is now 2. And now we'll go to the while loop again, and we'll check the condition whether j is less than equals I. That means whether 2 is less than equals 5. Yes, the condition is true. So now we'll print j again. Okay, so we have here after space we'll print 2. Okay, now we'll increment j, that is 3. The condition will be again checked whether j is less than equals I or not. So yes, 3 is again less than and equals to 5. So now we'll again print j, that is 3. Now we'll increment j, so now j is 4. Now we'll again go in this condition and we'll check whether j is less than equals I. Yes, 4 is less than 5. So now we'll again print the value of j, that is 4, and a space, and when you increment j, so now the value of j is 5. Okay, so now when the value of j is 5, we'll again go and check the condition whether j is less than equals I or not. So yes, 5 is less than or equals to 5. So now we'll again print the value of j and the space over here, as you can see over here. Now we'll again increment j, so now we can see here j is 6. Okay, so now we'll again go to the while loop and check the condition over here that whether j is less than equals I or not. So we can clearly see over here that 6 is not less than or equals to 5. So we'll come out of this while loop and we'll print a line change. So after this space is printed, the line is changed. Now our cursor is in the next line. Now we'll decrement I according to this step. So now I is equals to 4. Now when we have incremented I, we will now again go to this i's while loop and we'll check the condition that whether I is greater than 0 or not. So yes, 4 is greater than 0. So now we'll jump in this I loop, while loop of I, and now we'll again increment j by 1. Again initialize j by 1. Okay, so now instead of 6 we have 1 over here. Now we'll again check whether j is less than equals I or not. Yes, 1 is less than and equals to 4. So now we'll print j. As we can see here, in j we are having 1, so we'll print 1. Then we'll increment j, 2. Then we'll again check, yes, 2 is less than 4. So we'll print 2 over here. Then we'll check. Then we'll increment j by 1, that is 3. And we'll check, yes, 3 is less than 4. So we'll print j. So now j is 3. Now we'll increment j. So j is 4. And now we'll again check, yes, 4 is less than or equals to 4. So now we'll print 4 and a space. And we'll increment j by 1, that is now j is 5. And we'll again check whether j is less than equals I or not from here. So we can see here that 5 is not less than or equals to 4. So we'll come out of this while loop of j and we'll print a line change. Okay, that is system.out.println is printed. So a line will be changed and the cursor will be on this third line. Now I will be decremented by 1. So now this would be 3. And then we'll again go and check this outer while loop condition, that is yes, I is greater than 0, that means 3 is greater than 0. So now we'll again initialize j by 1. Okay, so now as we have initialized j by 1, we'll check whether j is less than equals I or not. So yes, 1 is less than 3. So we'll print the value of j and we'll increment j by 1. So now j is 2. Now we'll again check the condition. Yes, 2 is less than 3. So now we'll print 2. We'll again increment it by 1, which is 3. Now again 3 is less than or equals to 3. So we'll print 3. Now we'll again increment this by 1, that is 4. Now we'll check that 4 is not equals to 3. 4 is not less than or equals to 3. So now we'll come out of this inner while loop and we'll again print this line of code, that is sopln system.out.println, and so the cursor will shift to the next line in the fourth line. Now we'll decrement I by 1, that means 2. We'll again go and check this while outer while loop, that is I is greater than 0. So yes, 2 is greater than 0. So now we'll again initialize j by 1. So now the value of j is 1. We'll print j, that is 1. We'll increment j by 1, that is 2, and we'll print 2 after checking the condition that yes, 2 is less than or equals to 2. Okay, so now when we incremented this value to 3 and 3 is not less than or equals to 2, so we'll come out of the inner while loop and we'll print again this line change. So our cursor will be on the last line over here, and then we'll decrement I by 1. That means now the final value of I is 1. Now we'll check yes, I is greater than 0 as 1 is greater than 0. Now we'll initialize j by 1, j to 1. Okay, so now we'll check j is less than or equals to I. Yes, 1 is less than or equals to I1. So we'll print j, that is 1 over here. And now we'll increment j by 1. So now j is 2 and 2. Now we'll check the condition that whether j is less than or equals to I. So we can see over here that 2 is not less than or equals to 1. So we'll come out of this while loop and we'll again print the next line character. Now we'll decrement I by 1. So now I is 0. And now we'll check the condition that whether I is greater than 0 or not. So 0 is not greater than 0 in this condition. So now we'll exit this outer while loop also. And after exiting from this outer while loop, our program is finished. So this is the final output of our program on the console we got. Okay, as you can also see it over here. Okay, so you can see over here we got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, okay, as the desired output. Okay, so this was the dry run, just a simple dry run. So you should know how to trace. We also say dry run as trace. So this is very important for the beginners, as if you are not sure about your output, you need to dry run or trace your program. So this is something like double check, as in examination we double check our copies. So this is something like that. Okay, that's it for this video. In the next video we'll learn about some more complicated programs of patterns. Okay, thank you.